The East Area Rapist's trail of terror continued its slow, southward crawl through the late 1970s. From Sacramento, he struck in Contra Costa, then down into Orange County and Ventura. In every jurisdiction, the pattern was the same: meticulous planning, extreme cruelty, and a supernatural ability to slip away moments before capture. In 1978, the shift from rapist to killer became permanent and horrifying. In Goleta, the lives of Dr. Robert Offerman and his fiancée, Deborah Alexandria Manning, were brutally ended. The method, the location, the sheer audacity, it all screamed the same perpetrator. Over the next 6 years, he would leave 10 known bodies in his wake, earning him a terrifying new moniker from Southern California detectives: the original Night Stalker. 2 separate names, 2 separate investigations, but the DNA evidence, slowly and painstakingly collected from various crime scenes, would ultimately prove they were hunting one monstrous shadow. The 1980s arrived, bringing with it a technological promise that should have ended the chase: DNA analysis. Scientists could finally analyze the biological evidence left behind, but the system to match it was primitive. Detectives, working across dozens of local police forces, often didn't share crucial information. Each department was battling its own crime spree, not realizing they were all victims of the same man. Decades passed. The cases went cold, but the detectives dedicated to them did not. They became the case's memory keepers. They were the ones who kept the boxes of evidence cool and dry, who fought for funding to retest decades-old semen samples whenever a new analysis technique emerged. They fed the data into the FBI's new Cody's database, desperately waiting for a hit, for another arrest in another state to accidentally reveal their man. For years, the database remained silent on this case. Then, around 2011, a new conversation began in law enforcement circles: a controversial, last-resort tool known as familial DNA search. This technique involves checking the database for DNA profiles that are similar to the killer's, suggesting a close relative, a brother, a father, a son, might be incarcerated. It was a potential invasion of privacy for thousands of innocent relatives, and many jurisdictions hesitated. The Golden State Killer was a ghost to Cody's, but the investigators refused to let him win. The case became a symbol of systemic failure and agonizing persistence. True crime authors and journalists began to galvanize public interest, and a new generation of cold case analysts took up the fight, giving the killer the single, unifying name we know today: the Golden State Killer. The case was reopened in earnest. Analysts pored over the genealogy, the geographical data, and the killer's unsettling movements. They had the killer's genetic profile, but no name to attach to it. Then, in 2017, a detective decided to try something radical and unprecedented. They took the killer's genetic fingerprint, uploaded it to a public genealogy database, a place where people voluntarily upload their DNA results to find distant cousins, and started building a family tree. It was the longest of long shots, a controversial gamble that hinged on a single, vital piece of luck. The database returned hundreds of distant relatives. They were building a massive, sprawling family tree with one dark branch missing its name tag. Investigators spent months meticulously tracking those branches backward and forward in time, cross-referencing names against the timeline and locations of the attacks. It was painstaking, tedious work. They were looking for a male cousin, living in California, of the right age. The tree began to narrow. The branches began to converge. The focus fell on a small handful of men in their 70s. A ghost that had tormented 3 generations of police was finally taking on flesh and bone. The shadow was resolving. The decades of darkness were about to end with a single, anonymous clue, a digital seed planted in a public database that led to a suburban home in Citrus Heights, California. The name they found was Mundane. The life they uncovered was shockingly normal. The final act of the hunt was about to begin. Well, don't miss the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to at Record https://l/run/87yot and turn on the bell for weekly unsolved cases. To be continued.